we are back with a whole new exciting episode of The Incredible Hoax. I am your lovely host, Chris Hoke, writer for Red Sea, and with me is my lovely assistant, Mark. Or is it more like the disgruntled Cowboys fan?
Hello, folks. Mark Hoke here.
This is your own little
disgruntled Cowboys fan once again. But yes, movie enthusiast, writer, composer, and all around good guy, and sitting next to another good guy.
Well, speaking of good guys, let's get this. I personally feel like I want to get something off my chest.
Sure.
Right off the bat. Today has sucked. You know, it was a bad football weekend for Mark. The Cowboys yet again lost. My team lost. The Titans lost. And then today started off with needing to fix my wife's car.
Yeah.
Which, if anybody knows me, knows that I can work on vehicles, but God, I hate working on vehicles. I hate working on stuff in general.
Right.
And I just can't stand it, and it just... the day just didn't get any better from there. So instead of me coming off awkward today, I'm just going to put it out there for the people. Yeah. Instead of them going, I wonder, Chris seems off. I'm going to tell you, I am off. I am off because it sucked. Today sucked.
Well, you know, us being the local stars that we are, you know,
well,
the local heroes.
We have a following of dozens.
We're having to like tear down the veil between us and our fans. You know, hey, we bleed red just like everyone else.
We are human beings.
And by God, our batteries go out on our cars too. Damn it!
Well, it was that, and then the repair guy is supposed to show up at my house to fix another problem with my satellite. He showed up at the wrong time. That screwed my day up. It cost me an hour's work time. Mm-hmm. Just all that. It was a comedy of. No, it wasn't a comedy of errors. It was a drama of errors.
Yes.
And I don't know.
Misadventures and whatnot. It's a good thing today that we're actually doing a segment on pet peeves and complaints.
Well, yeah, because I'm a complainer today. I'm all ready to complain.
You know what? Let's just segue right into that. Actually, let's just do that.
Let's just do the complaining. Okay. Yeah. Let's carry on with our pissed off segment.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. You know, one of my pet peeves.
Yeah.
Is this metric system not being converted in movies? It drives me nuts. And let me tell you. Yeah. For example, I just rented the movie The Girl Who Played with Fire. And that's a very popular series.
Foreign films.
Foreign films, yes. Well, I'm watching the dub version. And they're giving a description of this girl. And they mention, instead of telling us she weighs like 98 pounds, they say, well, she's 41 kilos. I have no idea what that means. Yeah. You might as well tell me that she's part Martian for all I know.
Yeah.
Because like that means I have no frame of reference.
Yeah.
So you'll watch these movies, and there'll be like an American movie, American stars, and they'll be driving like on, you know, like the Autobahn in Germany.
Yeah.
And like, what's your speed? I don't know. I'm at 60 kilometers. I have no idea. It's like, oh, are they?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm like, are you going 20 miles an hour?
Fast? Is that slow?
Is that slow? Is that good? Yeah. So what do you think?
The only thing I know about the metric system is a meter is roughly a yard, roughly.
Okay.
But if you get to 100 meters, that's not even close to 100 yards, if I understand it right.
Okay.
And it just goes downhill from there. That's the best I understand of the metric system. Right. I hate the metric system. The metric system can go kiss my ass. and yeah, I am a lazy American. When I want to watch something, I don't want to have to pull out my phone and use a converter to figure out what the heck they're talking about.
Well, yeah, to me, it's like, look, folks, and I'm not even saying one is better than the other. But it is what it is. We don't use the metric system. We're Americans.
Yeah, if America used the metric system, fine, but we don't, and we don't.
If you have a movie knowing Americans are going to watch it, and you want us to follow along and not get ticked off, convert the bastard over. That's it.
I'm going to go out there. I'm going to push the envelope a little bit here.
Okay, here we go.
If Americans have to make movies with terrorists in it, but be sensitive to Islam, then by God, conversely, give us back that they have a standard system and forget the metric system. That's the trade. If we got to treat Islam with kid gloves, you know, like True Lies could never be made again because it had Islamic terrorists in it. So conversely, the trade-off is we want the standard system back.
Yeah, it's like look, it's like, do you not understand, rest of the world? You've already screwed us. The only two villains we're allowed to have now are aliens and Nazis.
Yeah,
that's it.
And Nazis have been gone for 70 years.
Yeah, so it's like you get bored with that. Yeah. So it's like, well, then now we're going to take away. They can't even use yards or feet or miles per hour. We'll screw with them, and they can't even have a. You know,
I'm gonna make that my pet peeve. Then is us as American movies having to like change things to suit other people. Okay, I know not all Islam is terrorists. I get not all Muslims. I know all Muslims are not terrorists. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm saying this right on camera. I understand not all Muslims are terrorists.
Yes.
Okay. It's out there. I say that, but there are some who are.
Yeah.
Evidently.
Yeah. Obviously. Yeah.
So we want those to be bad guys in our movies. So what?
Well, because what they're saying is, well, you can't tell that story.
Yes.
Well, where happened to freedom of speech?
Yeah. I mean, I realize not everybody in Germany was a Nazi. Okay? But the Nazis were still buttholes.
Yeah.
And they were bad guys. I realize not everybody in Soviet Russia was, a fire-breathing commie KGB agent.
Right.
But they were there. So those movies had the Nazis and the bad guy commies. So why can't we have the bad guy Muslim terrorists?
Yeah, because people try not to be so sensitive. Because in a movie, especially if it's an action movie, you gotta have a good guy. You have to have a bad guy. That is like storytelling 101. And if you're gonna be so upset that you have to have, the one Nazi who I don't really want to be a Nazi. I was forced into it by gunpoint. Well, tell that story.
Yeah.
You may have 3 people that watch it, but freedom of speech. Yeah. Tell that story if that's what you want to say.
That's my pet peeve. I'm going to throw out there. I'm tired of American movies having to make everybody happy stuff. Because if Germany wants to make a movie about Americans as bad guys, go for it. I don't care. It's not gonna hurt my feelings any,
right?
Because I know what they'll do is they'll have either some defense contractor as the bad guy. It'll be a defense contractor or some very far left or right politician.
Yeah,
and that'll be the bad guy. And I know all Americans is a defense contractor who's evil or a politician who's evil, so I can take a joke. I can handle that.
Yeah,
because I guarantee that's what it'd be.
Right.
So conversely, we want to have bad guy terrorist. It's not a terrorist.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
I think it does.
Okay.
Well, one quick one here on this segment.
All right.
I have a big pet peeve with pickles being served at the concession stands at movie theaters. I have a big peeve on that. I'll tell you why.
Tell me why, because I don't get this one.
It's always 10, 11-year-old girls that buy them too, and they manage to sit near me somewhere in my vicinity of my nasal area that stinks.
Smell it.
Pickles stink. I'm sorry.
That's not okay.
It stinks.
That's not one of my pet peeves, but I do have a pet peeve related with that.
Okay.
And that's the concession guy always looks at them and goes, "Do you want me to drain the juice?" And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with him asking that teenage girl if she wants him to drain the juice.
Well, that's the thing. Most of them are not
appropriate.
Most of them are like preteen. They're like 10 and 11.
My daughter's 11. Nobody's asking her to drain the juice.
Exactly. Don't be asking. Yeah.
That's all there is to it. And
oh my.
Well, I think that's all for this segment. We've already pissed off Islam and pickle eaters everywhere.
So let's conclude with an awkward moment of silence.
And we're back for more of the pissed off anguish that is The Incredible Hoax.
Dun, dun, dun.
To show just how off my day is, we always, in between segments, take a look at what we've done, make sure we like what we've done. And the camera was like, I was half cut off, for God's sakes. But it was funny, so we're going to leave it that way.
Yeah.
But that's how bad my day is. I can't even frame the damn camera right. I just, was the old phrase drop back and punt? Yeah, that's what I'm doing to this day. Right off a bridge.
Well, with all that bowl of cheer, we'll continue our pet peeves and complaints segment.
We're entering the holiday season, so we're about right where we should be. Pet peeves.
Pet peeves.
Well,
here's one of yours. You get you're always upset with these critics. This critic speak.
Yeah.
These overused adjectives.
Right.
That the film critics will use for their reviews.
Yeah.
Stuff like heartwarming.
Heartwarming is one of my
engrossing and stuff like that.
That's the two that I hate the most. Engrossing, ENGRO thing, and heartwarming. Have you really felt heartwarmed? I don't mean heartworm like a dog. I'm talking about heartwarmed. Have you ever thought, oh, that's heartwarming? I mean, I feel heartwarmed. No, you never have.
What once? I ate this big bowl of chili, and I followed it with some barbecue, and it was just like the two really...
That was gas.
That
was gas.
That was like a heartburn that like...
Yeah.
Would light up the town.
Even when I had my kids, I wasn't heartwarmed. I don't even know. It's a nonsense word. It doesn't even make sense. When I had my kids, I was happy. I was ecstatic. I was overwrought with emotions.
Yeah.
When our grandpa died, I was overwrought with emotion. I've never been heartwarmed in my life. What the hell is heartwarmed?
Well, I have a certain
nonsense.
I do have a certain sympathy for the critics in that regard. That a lot of people, most people, just want to know if you liked it or not. But if you're writing a review, every day or every week, you're doing, whether it's music, movies, whatever,
right.
And just how many times can you hear, well, it was good? Well, okay, well, that was good.
Well, I
So I think all that began as a way to kind of flower up the reviews a little bit, to try to make some distinctions and stuff like that. But I think maybe there is a point where it has gotten a lot of hands.
Well,
kind of pull it back a little bit. Maybe use some terminology that seems more grounded in reality, maybe.
My favorite reviewer, even though he hacks me off at times, is Roger Ebert. And you can read. I've read a million of his reviews.
Yeah,
and I can't remember him ever using the words engrossing or heartwarming. I guarantee he never used heartwarming. I've never heard. He writes out complete, cogent thoughts, and once you've read the review, you totally get what he's trying to tell you and what he thinks of the movie.
Right.
But he does not drop those throwaway, nonsensical adjectives. He just doesn't do it. He formulates complete thoughts, and he doesn't give you those soundbite words. I hate those words. I hate them. They're pointless. They're useless. Engrossing. What's engrossing? I'm engrossed in this. That doesn't make any sense. I'm engrossed. Heartwarmed. Horrible.
Well, they were certainly paying full attention to whatever they were watching, but then that begs the question, so you're saying you weren't bored,
Yeah. I mean, I get engrossed watching two dogs hump.
Really?
But I don't get heartwarmed over it.
You don't ask them.
Get heartwarmed over it.
You don't ask them whether they drain the juice or anything. Okay. We just killed that segment. All right. Poorly edited action sequences. There's another pet peeve I know.
Wait. Do you have adjective words you hate?
Me? I'd have to think about it.
Oh. Well, that's not what we do here.
Fluffy. Don't call a movie fluffy.
Or two dogs that you see. Oh.
Yeah. Which we established. Well, poorly edited action movies.
Okay.
I know that's a pet peeve for you. Because how many times have you, in the last 10 years alone, you've turned to me and go, when they were fighting, I had no idea who was doing what.
Yeah, Michael Bay. Every Michael Bay movie made. Yeah, every Michael Bay movie is that way. Bad Boys 2 probably was the least that way. And that movie, The Island, wasn't so bad. But for the most part, like The Rock, everybody loves The Rock. Tell me what happens in The Rock. I defy anybody to watch an action scene with me in The Rock and then turn to me and tell me what just happened. I defy you. It can't be done. It cannot be done. And I don't mean just like in general. I mean specific.
Yeah.
Specifically, tell me what happens in any action scene in The Rock. You can't do it. Armageddon, you can't do it. Impossible.
I think all I remember is that there was some weird plot about Ed Harris.
Yeah.
And he was going to do something, and then they called his bluff, and he was going to launch these Gungan things from the Phantom Menace at San Francisco. Yeah. They were like these weird balls that looked like the Gungan balls that attacked the city.
Well, there's that whole fight scene in the mine shaft in The Rock. I couldn't tell you a damn thing that happens in that mine shaft.
Yeah.
With the little mine carts and stuff. Let alone the whole point, why is there mine carts underneath Alcatraz? Right. That aside,
yeah,
who knows what the hell.
I guess they're thinking, well, they must have dug for gold under there or something years ago.
There's lots of movies that, I'm picking on Michael Bay now, but he might be the leader of the band, but there's plenty of other guys doing it.
Oh yeah, if we thought about it, we could name other movies. That movie Driven by Rennie Harlan.
Yeah.
You can't tell what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And there's cars racing, but you're like, well, who's winning?
Yeah.
You can't tell.
Yeah, you watch these action movies that they spent $100 million on, and you have no clue what happens in them. There's no. The one I always point out is the bar fight in Raiders Lost Ark.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one to point out in contrast to those, because in that bar fight in Raiders Lost Ark, you have guys with machine guns and fist fighting, and you have all the things going on, and they're all trying to get this medallion. And you can, after watching that, you know exactly where everybody was,
right?
Who did what to who killed who shot them, where they were. And you probably, if you're drawing a little map, you could probably put little X's where everybody was.
Mm.
That's how well thought out it is, and how clearly edited it is. But they just don't do that. That's not the way action movies are done these days.
Yeah.
Which is, I have no idea why.
Right.
Because it makes no sense to me.
Well, I know that there's a big push to keep the viewer interested.
Yeah.
And they figured out years ago that the more edits and cuts and stuff like that, it makes the eye stay on the screen.
Yeah.
So it's like they're trying to overload basically to compensate for a story, frankly, that's weak. That's what I think.
Yeah. The thing is and this, I'm going to get real cliche here for a second, and so you'll have to excuse me up front.
Okay, get ready. It's a heartwarming, engrossing alert. Here it goes.
Yeah, it kind of is, but they spend all this time trying to entertain the eye. They totally forget entertaining the mind. And so at the end of it, your eye has received a bunch of information, but your mind has not been able to process any of it because it's not a clear, cogent thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, your eye was kept busy, like Transformers, both Transformers movies. My eye was kept busy both times, but I have no idea what in the hell happened. In the action scenes.
May I use an example to prove your point? Of both those movies, the Transformer movies, the one scene I remember out of both.
What's that?
It was in slow motion. It's Megan Fox running in slow motion.
Yeah, and that is not a pet peeve.
Case proven. See right there.
That is not a pet peeve.
That's not a pet peeve. We want more of that, actually.
And speaking of two dogs humping, we have Megan Fox now.
Okay. All right. Since
I said up front I was in a bad mood, folks. I warned you.
Well, since I have no good segue for that, I'll just say my next pet peeve is these late arrivers in a movie.
Oh, God.
You're watching the theater.
Yeah.
I have the thing called the 10-minute rule.
Yeah.
So to give you an example, if the movie starts at 1 o'clock, and you get up to the little box office there, and it's 1:11,
just go to the next one.
You either go to the next one or you pick another movie.
Yeah.
I remember the last movie I saw that I really wanted to see, and I mean, you need to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm watching Christopher Nolan's Inception.
Yeah.
The movie had started at like 2, and there were still people coming in at 2:35. 35 minutes.
Now, that's a complex movie. But even if it's Scooby-Doo, that's stupid.
And so people know it was a small enough crowd that I knew it wasn't people going to get like refills of a concession food or something.
Right.
These were newcomers into the theater. I'm like, you literally have walked into this movie at least 25 minutes late.
You missed the first act for most people.
Yeah, and you're not going to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, that's dumb. Like I said, I don't care if it's a silly cartoon. Mm-hmm. There comes a point where you're not getting your money's worth.
Right.
You know, and I'm not going to miss a second of a movie and feel like I got my money's worth.
So remember, folks, the 10-minute rule. That's what I call it.
10-minute rule.
Yeah.
Enforce it strictly.
Yes.
With all your might.
Yes, because it will heartwarm you.
It will engross you and heartwarm you if you enforce the 10-minute rule. Just like Megan Fox in Two Dogs.
And she's always heartwarming.
Exactly. And with that, we'll be back.
Yeah.
Question is, will you? We're back to the Incredible Hoax. Moving on from pet peeves, moving on to something more positive, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Well, you know, last episode we had a thing on what actresses you admired the most. Of course, we wanted to do the ladies first. Of course, we have a segment on.
And we did. I didn't treat them like ladies.
Well,
you did. It was ladies first, and then I was a scoundrel. Shame on me.
Well, I'm not here to judge. Today's segment will take on the actors we admire. So here we go.
Yeah,
you ready?
And it'll be a total double standard. I'll judge all these guys on their merits. Total double standard, because that's just I'm useless. I'm a pig.
How do you follow that? Anyway, first one today: John Wayne or Clint Eastwood?
It's a toughie. That's
one of the tough ones, of course.
And, you know, that's one of the tough ones, and people have been asking that for years.
Sure.
I don't know, man. I mean, I go with John Wayne just because it's almost like nostalgia, you know. I think Clint Eastwood's probably the better actor consistently. He's a great filmmaker, you know, great director and filmmaker. Mm. But John Wayne, just the iconic roles he played, which I know you say Clint Eastwood did the same, but you know, The Searchers is my favorite Western ever, and his character in The Searchers is my favorite Western character ever, and then you know, John Wayne is sort of transcends movies, is a pop culture icon.
Sure.
I go John Wayne almost on nostalgia, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I would say if you're asking who's the better director, I would go Clint Eastwood. But if you're talking about a better actor, I'd go John Wayne. John Wayne's great. You know, he's certainly the one thing that people don't give him enough credit for. He's certainly a lot more verbal. I mean, not verbal. His dialogue, and he's a lot more vocal. Yeah, he's a lot more vocal than Clint Eastwood's iconic characters. His characters tend to say very little.
Yeah, very internal.
And John Wayne's very extrovert. He speaks a lot. So there's a difference.
Great comedian too, John Wayne.
Yeah.
You know,
McClintock's pretty funny. Hatari has some laughs.
Yeah.
That's just to name a few. The Quiet Man.
There's just something about John Wayne. As soon as you see him, you're on his side. You know, just as soon as you see him.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. If ever an actor had the it quality, he's got to be in the top 10.
He's number one, man. John Wayne's number one in my book. I mean, I could watch John Wayne all day. But yeah, John Wayne.
Moving on, Paul Newman or Tom Cruise?
That's another good close one. I have to go with Paul Newman. I think he's a better actor. I think he's a more solid actor, more consistent. He was HUD, which is one of my favorite movies ever. So he gets a nod from me. Mm. But yeah, Paul Newman. Tom Cruise. I love Tom Cruise, even though Tom Cruise is it's sort of the popular thing to not like Tom Cruise these days.
Yeah.
I still like Tom Cruise, even though it's not the end thing to do. Excuse me, I still like Tom Cruise. But having said that, Paul Newman I think is the better actor.
Well, I actually would give the nod to Tom Cruise.
Okay.
And you're talking about two great actors here, of course, but I think Tom Cruise has more variety in his performances he's given. And I think he's still got a lot of room to show us some.
I agree there.
Different.
He's not even 50
films,
yet,
and I don't think he's 50
I think he's 50 years old.
Yeah, so he's still young. He's got enormous potential to do to continue to blow us away with his performances.
Yeah.
Paul Newman, I felt like he really kind of had that tough guy persona, and he did it well. Yeah. So, Burt Reynolds or Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell. To me, that one's not even close. It's interesting pair up,
yeah,
but not even close. Burt Reynolds is a fine actor, great comedian. He chose roles very poorly, and that hurt him. I mean, that hurt him. I think he had the potential to be a really, really big, respectable actor, but he just chose so poorly his roles. And Kurt Russell is versatile. He's hilarious. He kicks ass in action movies. And, Kurt Russell's is a fan favorite of mine. So I'm Kurt Russell all the way.
And that's the thing. I think I have admiration for both, obviously.
Yeah.
But I just love Kurt Russell. I just think he's awesome. And it's probably not fair, too, because I'm such a big John Carpenter fan.
Yeah.
And all his films that he did with John Carpenter, I just think are just classics.
And underrated.
And what's weird is those were not all of them were box office hits. A lot of them were failures, which just floors me how a film as fun as Big Trouble in Little China didn't make $100 million plus.
Well,
it didn't.
Yeah, but the thing that is they found new life. And everybody loves those movies now. I mean, I never run across anybody that doesn't like Big Trouble in Little China or The Thing or Escape from New York.
Yeah.
I mean, people love those movies.
Yeah, people are putting The Thing on their top 10 horror films of all time.
Yeah, and those were all box office disasters as far as I know. Well, I mean, disaster was probably too strong a word, but disappointments.
Right. Well, Escape from New York was a bona fide hit.
Was it? Okay.
And I think that was the only one of the 4 films I think that they worked on.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kurt Russell is... he's Snake Plissken, for God's sakes. You gotta go with Snake
Plissken.
Snake
Plissken. It's one of my favorite movie characters.
Yeah.
Robin Williams or Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey. Because, and you know why I want to say this, Robin Williams can be the most sanctimonious actor. He probably owns that title of the most sanctimonious actor in the world, because he got on this tear where every movie, the final scene was him telling us how wrong we all were and how he had all the answers. Every movie, Patch Adams was the epitome of it. Patch Adams was the Citizen Kane of his sanctimonious roles. It was horrible. God, was it horrible. And Jim Carrey he's had some stinkers. Jim Carrey's had some stinkers, but consistently funny. And when he tries to do serious, he pulls it off. He's far better. I think he's a far superior actor.
Yeah. Well, folks, case in point that we don't always agree on everything, I gave Patch Adams 4 stars.
Yeah, and I gave it a big goose egg. Big goose egg.
And he hated it.
Hated the movie.
Anyway, I'd have to disagree that I like Robin Williams better than Jim Carrey. And I like, of course, both, but Robin Williams, I thought, just as far as his dramatic depth, what he could do in a drama and a comedy, just Jim Carrey, I mean, I think he's limited. I think he's done some fine work in dramas, but I just don't think he has the depth that Robin Williams has. So.
I will agree with you, actually. I agree Robin Williams has more dramatic depth than Jim Carrey. I totally agree with that statement. My problem is in the comedic roles, Robin Williams has to go sanctimonious. I mean, he never just does this just out and out screwball comedy, and it stays that way. He has to at some point preach to us.
Yeah,
it's horrible. Yeah, and now his movies. Now he's not a star. Now his movies don't, like RV and that terrible movie he made with John Travolta. Old Dogs. Those didn't have the preachy moments because he hasn't earned that right anymore. He's not a star anymore. So they were just terrible movies. But back in his prime, he was going to preach at you.
Yeah,
bastard.
Well, here's a fun one: Denzel Washington or Will Smith.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I have an interesting qualifier on this one too.
I gotta go Denzel, but what do you say?
I'm going to say right now, I say Denzel Washington, but I have a feeling in 5 years, you ask me again, I'll say Will Smith.
Why is that?
Because he continues to add to his repertoire.
Yeah.
Let's face it, the first 10, 12 years of Will Smith, he's done kind of the blockbusters, action movies, there's not a whole lot of like challenging work there.
Yeah.
But in the last 5 years, he's had a lot of he's just really grown as an actor. He's gone from just star to now really a well-rounded actor. Yeah. And I think in 5 years, I may have a different opinion. But right now, the most well-rounded actor is Denzel. He can do the action, but boy, he can do the drama too. And Will Smith is getting there.
Well, yeah, Denzel, I give my nod to Denzel because he's great in action, he's great in dramas, and he's a great bad guy. Terrific bad guy. I love Denzel as a bad guy. So, what?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to think of more. He's done the bad guy in Training Day. Has he done it more than that?
American Gangster.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, he was awesome bad guy.
Yeah, he was. Okay. I was like, well, what other one has he done?
No, those two. Yeah. That actually, and I hate to say it because it's only 2 movies, but that's pretty dang good. Those 2 movies.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to be a bad guy,
he picked 2 really good. I mean, those. Yeah, he hasn't been a bad guy a lot, but when you take a role like Man on Fire, where he's the good guy, but he's so jaded.
Right.
I mean, he might as well. May as well been the bad guy in some respect.
Well, he comes through in the end.
But yeah, I mean, he's got a range to him.
Well, I guess before we run out of time, let's do this last one here.
Okay.
Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger? This one. We're totally '80s kids, by the way. So this one means something to me.
I know. Anyway. To me, this is like asking me, do you mom or dad? It's like.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Everyone else is watching like, just pick one. You're like, no, Stallone, Schwarzenegger. You have to understand, those guys are like.
If that question
huge.
If that question is meaningless to you, then you're not a Gen Xer. If that question is meaningless.
Yeah. If you don't understand that every movie they went to, you didn't even know the name of the movie. You just knew Stallone, new movie, June 1st. You're like, okay, well we gotta be sure we clear the schedule that day.
I hate to say, Stallone did a lot of stinkers, but he probably made more good movies than Schwarzenegger has. Even though he made more movies in general,
right?
And he had to make more stinkers doing it that way. But I gotta go Arnold because I've always been Arnold. I've always had a connection with Arnold. From the Terminator movies, Predator, True Lies. I even love Commando. Mm-hmm. Of all things, I love Commando. It's such a standard.
Alyssa Milano's in that.
Yeah,
she's a teen in there.
And, I remember going to the movies as a kindergarten cop, for God's sakes, And Total Recall. I mean, Schwarzenegger really just tapped into something my subconscious, conscious, whatever, back in those formative years of my teenage years, and he was the man. He was the movie star, and to me it's Arnold. Funny, great with action,
right?
He was just the man. You wanted to be like Arnold.
Well, I would say Stallone. I mean, again, we are kind of picking between two.
It's like picking between mom and dad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like if you have like 2 best friends and you got to pick one. Okay, if I pick them as my best man, is the other one going to get ticked off?
Exactly.
So that's kind of how I'm feeling. But no, Stallone, I give the nod over. I just think. While probably Schwarzenegger is the better comedic actor, I certainly give the nod for drama and action. I give to Stallone, and he's just incredible. I mean, the roles of Rocky and Rambo. That's just we know those are icons, but people forget. I mean, he was good in John Huston's Victory. People forget. I mean, it wasn't like he only did 2 franchises. He did some other things. Yeah, he was in some bombs too.
But I like Cobra. I'm like probably the only person out there that likes Cobra. I like Cobra.
It's
dumb and it's 80s. It is reeks of 80s.
I would count that more of a guilty pleasure for me, but I thought Lockup was good. It's like a prison crime drama, whatever. Yeah. But I thought that was good. Yeah. Nighthawks was fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, he has some stuff out there that hopefully people will give a second chance to. And if they haven't seen Expendables yet, check it out. That's a fun movie.
Well, that last Rambo, the newest Rambo he did, Rambo 4. for lack of a better, I don't even know what to call the damn thing anymore.
Yeah, it's just
It's changed titles so many times. But anyway, that was a great freaking little movie, dude. Yeah. I mean, that ending of just on the 50 cows.
Yeah.
that was a thing of poetry. That was.
Yeah.
That was. But yeah, I gotta go with Arnold. I was one of those people when he ran for governor. I was heartbroken because he couldn't. I was like, oh, his movies, it's over. No more movies.
Yeah, you knew the run was over.
I knew it was over. I was like, dang it, stupid Schwarzenegger, you dumb governor. Dang it. I liked the last Terminator 3. I liked the Terminator 3, and nobody else.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I thought it was a good movie. And,
yeah.
I know me and you probably the only ones that did, but I liked it. So.
Yeah, come on, America. T3 was great.
So I was disappointed when he became governor. So anyway, that's just me.
Well, with that, I think we are completed the actors segment.
We'll be back for our last wrap-up segment, so stay tuned.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Incredible Hoax as we wrap up today. We've had a fun day talking about our pet peeves and complaints and actors we like. And
we've been very disgruntled today. I've been very disgruntled today.
But it was a good catharsis to kind of get that out. But in wrapping up today, I'm sure everyone's waiting for our quote of the week segment. And here we go. Last week's was, if they hadn't done what I told them not to do, they'd still be alive, which is Reservoir Dogs. So if you got Reservoir Dogs, one of his favorite quotes.
One of my favorite quotes.
So if you got that, good for you. And this week's, I like this one. It's really short, but may not. It's semi-hard.
It's rather short.
Yeah.
It's semi-hard.
But it's semi-hard.
That make your own joke. Just make your own joke.
I thought we were supposed to wrap this thing up. Anyway.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Exactly. Definitely mostly not about the girl. That's this week's quote. Definitely mostly not about the girl. Right. So, to make your guesses, you go online and you do that at...
On our Facebook page, go to Facebook. You have to have a Facebook account. Duh. And go and look up The Incredible Hoax. If you don't like our page already, make sure you like it. And write on our Facebook wall the answer to the quote of the week. Or email us at hoke@redseatelevision.com. That's hoke, H-O-K-E, at redseatelevision.com.
Awesome. And we conclude with our movie rental suggestions. Yeah, because you're going to the video place and you don't know what the hell to rent. So we're going to help you out.
Your Netflix queue
is
empty and you want to populate with something good.
Yeah, you
will pick. Yeah.
Yeah, and you will pick hopefully one of ours.
Exactly.
And you're like in the last 2 years, there ain't crap. All these newer movies are crap. So we're here to help. My suggestion is Phantom of the Opera. It's the 2004 film. Stars Gerard Butler and Emmy Rossum. Check it out. It's a great movie. And if you're still kind of in a Halloween mood, you might get your fix. Or if you want to see kind of a tragic love story, you'll get your fix. Either way, it's a good movie. Check it out.
My pick of the week will be Taxi Driver because he's probably my most favorite pissed off character ever. And since today has been kind of a pissy mood for me, why not go with Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver? Somebody who's just mad at everybody. So if you never saw Taxi Driver is one of those movies a lot of people will quote, you talking to me, but I don't think many people have seen it as they think they have. Go out and check out Taxi Driver.
It's a good thought.
And watch it, and don't just quote the "you talking to me" lines. Actually know where it comes from for once, for God's sakes.
Well, and Martin Scorsese directed it, so hey.
Another reason why I like that movie, especially this time of year, to me it always felt like a cold movie. Very wintry movie. I'm kind of moody about movies. When it's cold, I want to watch a cold movie. I like to match somewhat what's going on. Same with music. I listen to at certain times of year. I listen to certain types of music.
Right.
Not just Christmas. I'm talking about like cold or rainy or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Taxi Driver is one of those sort of cold weather when you're sort of blue. It's a good movie to watch. It's just as pissed off as you are.
Well, they're certainly going to get diversity between our two picks there. So
plus, the elections are this week, and there's an election sort of a theme to the movie as well.
And there is.
So lots of things going on with Taxi Driver as well as Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Check it out.
Which is terrific.
Yeah.
And you'll hear great music too, so that's always a good thing.
That's right.
And with that, and with that,
I am Chris.
You're not going to do your French.
I didn't know we were at that point yet. We actually usually say a few things.
Oh.
And then I'll end with that.
Oh, okay.
See, today's off, man. We can't even end the show right.
Can't even end the show right.
Can't even end the show right. Okay, we'll start over. So with that, what did you?
You just had to say it.